Episode 6, God's Law or Man's Law, How Religion Shaped Government. By now, we've traced the human fingerprints on sacred texts, explored fear and reward, and examined ritual, symbolism, and hidden codes. In this episode, we follow the thread into law, governance, and society to see how religious authority was used to regulate communities, enforce conformity, and shape the moral and civic landscape. Ancient legal systems often fused divine authority with secular rule. Hammurabi's Code, Ma'at's Confessions, and Israel's early laws were both moral and civic frameworks. Disobedience was not only a social transgression but a spiritual one. When people believed that breaking the law was an offense against both ruler and God, compliance became nearly automatic. Authority was amplified by belief. Religion and governance were inseparable. Christianity carried this forward as it became the state religion of the Roman Empire. Church and empire became intertwined. Bishops sat in councils, clergy advised rulers, and canonized scripture shaped civic morality. Laws reflected religious principles. Sunday observance, moral codes, and family law were all enforced under threat of both secular and spiritual sanction. Religious authority became a vehicle for social control, ensuring predictable behavior and allegiance to both God and state. In Islam, Sharia law developed similarly. Quranic concepts, hadith, and centuries of scholarly interpretations guided not only personal conduct but governance, commerce, and justice. Caliphs and rulers derived authority from their role as enforcers of divine law. Faith and civic duty were inseparable. Religious obedience was political obedience. Social order, morality, and hierarchy were codified in intertwined spiritual and legal frameworks. Judaism provides a parallel model. Rabbinical courts interpreted Torah law to govern community behavior. Civil, criminal, and religious law were interconnected, enforcing conformity to a shared moral and legal standard. Observance was both spiritual and civic. Social cohesion, ethical norms, and communal identity were reinforced through this integration of law and faith. In every case, these systems use the same mechanisms we've seen before. Fear and reward, ritualized compliance, hierarchy, and codified authority. Laws are not only written in stone or parchment, but embedded in education, social expectation, and cultural practice. Breaking them carries consequences, both tangible and psychological. Following them grants safety, status, and belonging. The architecture of belief extends into the architecture of society. Even in modern secular states, religious influence persists. Moral codes, legal norms, and social customs often trace their origins to religious precepts. Concepts like justice, charity, family obligation, and ethical behavior have been shaped over centuries under the guidance of faith. Ceremonial law, civic rituals, and symbolic traditions continue to reinforce patterns of behavior long after explicit religious authority has waned. This is not to suggest that religion is inherently oppressive. It also provides stability, community, ethical guidance, and identity. The issue is awareness. When religious mechanisms operate unconsciously, individuals may comply without questioning, and societies may enforce conformity without examining the underlying structures of power. Understanding the fusion of religion and law illuminates patterns that repeat across history. Texts are curated, codes are enforced, rituals reinforce obedience, fear and reward guide behavior, and symbols mark authority. Whether in ancient Mesopotamia, the Roman Empire, the early Islamic caliphates, or modern societies, the system remains recognizable. Awareness allows us to see both the constructive and coercive dimensions of these mechanisms. We can appreciate moral guidance while recognizing when authority has been leveraged to suppress dissent or manipulate populations. By tracing the threads from sacred text to societal law, we see how human agency, not divine decree alone, has structured communities for millennia. In the next episode, we will explore the intersection of religion, education, and knowledge control, how access to information has been restricted to shape belief, maintain authority, and preserve power across generations. For now, remember, the laws we obey and the customs we follow often have roots in carefully curated religious systems, and understanding this history is essential to navigating belief consciously.